My name is Canute, and today I am in Barbados. This is In My World on the island of Barbados. My guest today, he is a worshiper, he's a drummer, he's a guitarist, and a tech director. Wait till you meet this guy, Keron Boyce. Keron,
Hey,
what's up?
Canute. I'm pretty good. We're going.
So we talked about outside of the camera, being on how we should hold the microphone as engineers and him as a vocalist. So let's see if he does well for the whole interview. Karen,
No
welcome to
pressure.
In My World. Well, go on, man.
I'm pretty good, man. So thanks for having me on board with this. Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but excited as well too to
Yeah.
just share and hopefully this just blesses someone or encourages at least one person to just pursue their passions and their dreams.
Definitely, and we're going to dig into some of the things you are. You are an amazing person, a hidden gem. Some would say on the island of Barbados. You were born here. We won't even get to how you grew up and all of that stuff. I want to get to worshiper, drummer, guitarist, and tech director. I don't even know where to start. Where you want to start?
Honestly, I guess it's just a start at the beginning.
Yeah.
It all started. It was from a small church out from where I grew up, over in Hill, in the parish of St. Michael. And I had left church for a while because in your teenage years, you're rebellious. You don't want to wake up
Yeah.
and get to church. The
Yeah.
tricks you used to play when you like sleep with one eye open and thing, when your grandmother tried to come and wake you up. But my cousin actually had started going back, and it was like, you know what? Let me just try this thing again. And I went, and I had always had a love for music, and I saw that they had introduced drums into the church, and there was this guy playing, and it was like, yo, I want to do this. So I went and I started that. So I started learning drums, but then I realized that I could do more in terms of like sound and singing and stuff. So that's where a passion and for the arts and for worship actually started, and that's where my first prophetic word over my life, speaking into that ministry, actually
Wow.
came. Just talking about my anointing for these things, and at first I didn't understand it. It was anointing
What
to
am
do
I talking
it.
about?
I just like doing this thing. And I had two loves. I had a love for music and I had a love for IT as well too.
Yeah.
And I realized that through sound engineering, I could actually do both of them. So that's how I actually really got into being an engineer, but still be able to carry out my passion in church for leading worship or singing. Um, Fast forward a couple of years, and there were some people who took me under their wing to show me some stuff. My actually first time on a large console, I had this guy by the name of Swain Paris, who's an amazing guy, amazing guitarist and studio engineer, and he was working at this hotel, and he decided to take me along to be like, hey, I'll show you a little thing about live sound. And he was like, you're a drummer, mix the drums. And I was like, what? Man, I'd never seen this word before. So I was like, I'm trying to some stuff on the EQ, that sort of stuff. It started to sound pretty good, and he was like, all right, you got these drums, all right, mix the rest of the band now. And I'm like, what's going on here? So that's how I got my feet wet. And then I had another friend of mine who went to Vancouver to study, Kevin Callender, and he was mixing this reggae band in this club that used to have that still have in St. Lawrence Gap called McBride's. So I learned a lot more there just watching. So because I'm a really introverted person, I stay in the background, but I learned a lot from watching people.
Yeah.
So from him, I picked up all the little tricks with delays and reverbs and stuff, and I didn't realize how that was gonna impact my life later, like further down the road. Eventually, I got a chance to go overseas and study and learn more. And then when I came back, I got another opportunity through Swain. He couldn't make a gig, and he suggested me. And this artist was taking a risk because this was like a debut showcase for a really big gig that she had coming up,
Yeah.
and she decided to take a chance, and it worked out. And I started working for her. Did a couple of things for some gospel artists on island, but it was like back and forth, and it was like, Larry, can I really sustain this? And through the church that I'm at now, Hope Church, that's really started to do more of that live sound, but also explore more as a worshiper as well too. So I started leading worship, and then I went into to helping out in the tech team, getting close with those guys, and really becoming like us becoming a family. And they really poured out into my life and supported me through the years that I've been at Hope Church, which was Thankful Family before. And my pastor at that point in time as well too just took a risk and was like, I see something in you, I see greatness, I see wisdom inside of you, wisdom beyond your years, and I want you to use that. Yeah. So he really poured into my life at that point in time. And then just out of the blue, while I was doing some IT work, because I was working for an IT company here, I had a Facebook message from a friend who said, "Hey, I want you to go and apply to Carnival Cruise Lines." And I was like, "What?"
What?
And I was like, "How? Just go apply?" Yes, some technicians just left. You'll be a great fit because we had worked together in the past crop over season, doing a band together, monitors in front of house. And he was like,
Okay, hold on. I've been hearing this phrase since I've been on the island for about a week now. Crop over. Pause for a second and tell me what is crop over.
Crop over usually signifies like the passing of kings and stuff here on the island. But what it really is for us also too is our festival.
Oh, okay.
And it runs from about June to about August 5th or 6th, depending on when that first holiday falls, which ends in a big carnival jump up. So it's carnival for us, like how you have Trinidad Carnival.
Oh, okay.
So it's what we call it is crop over. So there's a bunch of events and shows and live shows that happen and fests and parties and what's not.
Okay. I've been hearing this phrase crop over and I'm just smiling like I know what it is and I come on in my world to find out what's crop over. Yeah, continue.
Cool. So we had Jamal and I had worked a little bit for crop over, and Jamal was like, "Hey man, go apply for Carnival." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'll take a shot." I wasn't really expecting much, and from that day and 4 weeks later, I was on a ship.
Wow.
So I had visas, medicals. My church really helped me out with a lot of stuff and sent me off with a huge blessing. And I stepped on front on this ship, and the first console I bought was a PM5D, and I was like, "Oh, this is a mammoth of a console."
Yes.
And I was like, what does this thing really do? I had used it here a little bit in Barbados, but it was really on the ships that I really got to grow.
To dig into the Yamaha PM5D.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, obviously want to go and Google it and stuff. This is first gen or second gen Yamaha digital console, and you got all the way partnership for go dig deep into this console. Were you scared?
Of course, this thing is massive. You ever try to move one of those things?
It's heavy. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
But it was huge, man. It was a scary thing, but fortunately for me, the guy who hired me, my boss, Jeff Irving, was on board, and he took me aside a day, and he was just like he told me his experience on coming on board the ship. So what I would do is that after the shows were finished at night and the tech who was there would leave and stuff, I would go back into the lounge. I will put on the reference monitor and I will mix the shows myself and just go back over everything. Wow. Because we would record the Larry tracks just in case of emergencies happening on ships and stuff. Yeah. And so we use those to play back and get a chance to just mix the shows. Yeah. And luckily for me, it was music that I had grew up on because the shows at that point in time was a Motown show. You had Latin Nights, you had Epic Rock, which I was like, okay, Epic Rock was a new show to the Fleet. And then you have, I can't remember what the last show was, but there were 4 shows in all together. And I was like, okay, some of this music I know. If I just dig in and just sit down and figure out what this stuff does. So I sat down and I figured out what every single reverb did. It was my first time seeing waves as well too, using Wave Sound Grid. Yeah. So it was a whole set of equipment to try to just, that could like get you really scared and you immersed in. But because of my love for computers and IT and my love for music and now this thing that I developed in terms of sound engineering, I settled into it. So by the end of my contract, I was like where I needed to be at that point in time.
How rigorous of a night, a week, a season on the ship was or is?
It can be pretty rigorous depending on the ship that you go to. You have the bigger ships having more shows,
Yeah.
smaller ships having less shows, and might not be as much to do, quote unquote. But there are certain things you need to keep doing
Yeah.
for you to keep your ship up and running, and you have to keep up on your maintenance. And if you don't, then you create more work for yourself.
So you go, you have a show, and say you have a couple shows a night. You do that every night, the same show every night for the time that you're out at sea. Every night.
Yeah, you do a
How you
different
stay
show.
engaged, how you stay engaged, how you keep yourself not like falling asleep over this doing the same thing.
Because the
And
guests change. You're gonna have new guests every single time. And my philosophy when I started, from the time I left school, I decided, you know what? Every time I mix a show as front of house, or even as monitors, as I developed as a monitor engineer at front of house at that point in time, I want the guests to walk away with a new experience because the singers and dancers on stage are giving their all. So why should I like? I shouldn't be just like, I just push a fader here, push it not. So for me, every night, those performers are giving their all on stage, and I just see myself as an extension of what they're doing, so I can make or break or hurt what it is you're doing because they're up there, they're giving it all,
yeah.
and if the audience can't hear or experience that, then it's going to reflect bad after they're up there, after all the rehearsals they've done, all the work they've put in, all the work the technicians backstage that people don't see have put in as well too. So I got for me, I just needed to create something new, a new experience every single time. Wherever that person has seen that show 20 times, they should walk away with something new, like, oh my God, like,
Yeah, they
I
never
didn't
saw
tell that
that or
before.
heard that before.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um so you moved from being a front of house engineer, um, doing shows and being what? I want you to say it. I want you to say it. This is amazing. It's a in church. I would say this is an amazing testimony. It's like you get this opportunity. A friend tell you, "Hey, you should apply for this," and you do it, and before you know it, you're off. Out at sea, running shows and all that stuff. But then it got more and more and more. You're learning not just the PM5D. You're learning other techniques. You're doing IT as well. What else happened after that?
After that, as you said, I learned a lot. So, from there, I started to move on. Carnival started to introduce the Yamaha CL3 and CL5, which were the flagships at that point in time. So I got a chance to learn those consoles, and then they started to move into the direction of new shows, from what they were doing before. But as I grew as a technician, learning more, going through the level up program that they implemented on ships, giving technicians the opportunity to level up with real life certifications, not just in audio but automation and floor and lighting. I got a chance to be a fleet supervisor for Carnival, and what that basically entailed was that I was a subject matter expert in audio, and I would travel to the different ships on the request of my boss in the office. He would say like, "Hey, we have a problem here," or "This is your next ship visit." He will plan out a schedule where I will go visit different ships, help the technicians with anything that they need, in terms of issues on board with DSP issues or audio issues in the actual shows, like helping them to improve on their shows. There were some technicians that you met who just had some amazing mixes because in that period of time, we also Carnival developed a new studio. So you had a studio trainer by the name of Eric Torres who was just inside there, just killing the new training techniques, and it really helped the technicians by the time they got on board the ships to really conquer what it is that they were doing with the shows. So you saw a dramatic improvement in the quality of shows as well too. So it was a huge challenge to manage and to be put in a leadership role and a management role, but it was also an amazing and humbling experience to be part of multi-million-dollar shows and people trust your opinion or asking your opinion on how can
Yeah.
we make things better and stuff like that.
Fleet supervisor of how many ships?
At that point in time, it was like 25 or
Look
26
here, no
ships.
man. Look here. I'm just roll over that like it's yeah. Jesus. Wow, that's an amazing. So the kid in me wants to know. So you're on one ship, and then they have a troubleshooting issue, or you have to troubleshoot something on another ship. How does that work? You're at sea. How does that work?
We have stuff called issue track. So people would ever call you on your ship phone if they're having issues, or there's a hotline for the technicians. So we don't
Okay.
leave them stranded just at sea, just like
Yeah.
that. There are people that they can call. There are other fleet supervisors for the other departments that
Yeah.
they can call to reach out and say, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this or having trouble with that," and not just work wise, but sometimes they might just need someone to talk to because being out there away from family at sea sometimes
Yeah.
can get pretty hard. So just being a friend every now and again to be like, hey,
Hey, well, go on. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
take someone downstairs just for a drink, or take the guys out for say, hey, we're in port today. Let's go hang out and have lunch together.
Yeah.
Stuff like that really meant a lot to the technicians. So the hardworking people in that entertainment department, I miss them,
Yeah.
and they've taught me a lot.
Wow. Wow, this is an amazing story. Keron, you've covered like a small portion of your life, what you've done, like from when you started, but the journey, and I'm sure, you have many stories, of you being out at sea and being on the ship, and being a tech. How you adapt those things to on the island now?
It's still the same. Like, it's a little different because now I'm bringing new skills
Yeah,
that I didn't have before. Learning new programs, like I said, Wave SoundGrade,
yeah,
QLab for triggering shows and show cues and programming,
yeah,
is giving me a more affinity for digital consoles. So I'm able to get around, even if it's a new console,
yeah,
I can get around it quicker now.
yeah,
Just by either reading a manual or going through a tutorial. So it's
yeah,
giving me that confidence that no matter what the board is, I might not have used it
yeah,
before, but I can get around it.
yeah.
So that has been a good thing. And I'll just for me right now here on the island, I just want to put what I've learned into church,
Mhm.
into church production and worship. One of my things when I would do stuff like crop over or other sackler events, as the people might see it, was that I can't give them my all and not do the same for or even more when
Yeah,
I go to church,
yeah,
and give it for God who's given me these giftings and
yeah,
abilities,
yeah,
because all the praise goes to Him. Like if He didn't put it in my hands, then I can't use it.
yeah,
So before every show, I still get nervous, but I also pray.
yeah,
Every single time that I think about all the stuff that He has blessed me with, because it was someone. The door was open. It
mhm,
wasn't just Jamal that made a call. Like God
yeah,
made that provision for me to be
yeah,
able to go through all the ranks, go through and learn for the last 5 years what I learned in
yeah,
Carnival, and to for me to be able to give it back here on the island in some way,
yeah,
shape, or form. So in my church right now, that's what I am trying to do. Just trying to give back, trying to build, trying to help
yeah,
in any way, shape, or form that I can. And any other churches that I come around with, or any other artists who might ask for help, sure, I'm ready to give back those talents. I don't want to bury the
yeah,
talents.
yeah, yeah.
And I have a tendency to really withdraw a lot of times, or just not say anything and just be like, I'll just step back a bit.
Mhm.
But I think God is calling me out to be like, hey, I need you
Push
to start to
forward.
push forward.
Yeah.
Step out. Don't be afraid. I'll do what it is I need to do in your life. You just walk it out with me.
Mm. It's a thing for tech heads. We always tend to be in the background, and we had like some awesome conversations, and we geek out. Like this past weekend, we were geeking out watching new consoles coming out, and go what, and it's such an amazing to even just hang out with you and just kind of just catch up on tech and what's out there, and we're so much alike. We people misunderstand us, and for you techs that's watching, this is what this show is about. This is what In My World is about. That we often be in the background, and people kind of don't acknowledge us. And when voter thanks coming, they kind of give us like the 3 seconds, like, oh yeah, and the sound guy or the sound team, and it's not that we do it for that, because we are naturally servants at heart, and you are the epitome of that. You You learn all that you can, you push yourself, your work ethics is amazing because in such a short space of time you move from being a front of house or a tech, to learning all of these things, and being the supervisor for many fleets, and being the guy that was going to help somebody in a jam. A lot of people would want to know that you are their supervisor, that you will make sure you move heaven and earth for make sure them all right. And so what I'm trying to say is, for you that's out there that's feeling that you're not appreciated, I want to say you are appreciated. That's what this is for. And you don't do it for that. You do it for much much more than that. But then, bigger than anything else, you have a community, and you can reach us on social media. Definitely drop a line, a comment below here, and we're there. I'm not say we are starting no prayer hotline or not like that, but there is a community that's here because we had a conversation yesterday. We won't mention who we were talking to, but a group of us we were talking, and there's such like mind of people that's out here million miles away from where I am, and to come here on the island of Barbados to really hear that we go through the same things. What are some of the encouragement you'd have for some of the youths them know on Barbados or anywhere in the Caribbean?
Um, my encouragement is there's a I don't remember the actual scripture, but I was doing some study on leadership. And basically in the Bible it talks about us having to serve first to be real leaders. And that's what we're doing. Each of us are a leader in our church. No matter how we are serving, whether it be from scrubbing the toilets or to even preaching on a platform, we're still serving. And my goal and thing, and when it comes to worship or when it comes to serving or when it comes to leadership, is that my job is to make the man of God's vision come true. And God has given him a vision for your church as a pastor, as a shepherd. God has given the worship leader a vision for the church to move forward, to grow closer to him in relationship, because that's what he really wants. He wants a real relationship with us. So my encouragement is that no matter what it is you do, see it as a service and your worship unto God.
So you have a song out. You have a song out. I listened to the song last night, and I was like, wow. And what's up with that? Tell me.
Uh, that was a faith walk. That was something definitely totally different. I'm accustomed to being a guy behind the board, not the guy behind the microphone and singing and stuff. So, God laid this song on my heart, along with a couple others, and I decided, you know what? Let me just take the step of faith and just put it out there. To be quite honest, I didn't do much in terms of promoting it or anything. I just put it out and I let people know it was out. Released it on the radio station, and it's on iTunes and Spotify and stuff. It's called Like Her God by Keron Boyce, of course. Hey,
iTunes. Me hear it. Wicked.
and yeah, and the chorus of it is just basically, it says,
Stick in your head. Like
yeah,
I left last night. I'm humming the thing, and I'm like, where's? I'm like, oh yeah. So
yeah, it just talks about, your source really coming from God.
Yeah.
All who are weary, He will give you rest. He's your peace, He's your joy, He's your everything. So whatever you're looking for, you can find it in Him. And that's what that encouragement and what that song is for. So no matter what you're going through, I just want to encourage people to find their rest, find their peace, find their joy, find Him as the source. As us as engineers, we know that they're different sort. We get different sources coming through one system, one loudspeaker coming through there, and but He's the main source for everything it is that we need.
Yeah. You are an amazing person. It probably we introverts and we melancholy. This is how we show it. You're amazing. We're doing backflips inside, but you are a highly technical person, but you're also a worshiper. And you have a song out, and it's a chill about it. And the song is really, really nice. We're going to drop the link here so you can hear it. What's next for you? What are you up to this year? It's 2020, new decade. What are you
Um,
up to this year?
this year, my vision for this year is to be in the will of God,
Yeah,
to be where He wants me to be.
yeah,
I want to be ready to be used when He calls on me.
yeah.
So I want to study more about worship. I've been looking at one of the guys I've been following recently is Ray Hughes. He has a YouTube link and a sermon called "The Symphony of Heaven," and I've learned a lot about that, about worship and frequencies and that sort of stuff from watching his sermons as well too, which was like mind blowing. And then for myself to develop myself more as a worship leader in trainings, but also to incorporate it with my sound engineering stuff. So my, believe it or not, the first ever training class I've ever attended was late last year when I got to go and study the PM10 and PM7. Every other console I've used, I've taught myself.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, so I want to do a couple more of those and just keep learning. I think that's the goal for this year. I want to keep learning and not just hoard the information. I want to keep learning so I can share and teach more people.
I love the fact that you're using all your gifts and talents. You're not just saying, well, this is the one thing. And we talked about off camera of, for me, I felt guilty for so many years of the fact that I know a lot of things or I do a lot of things and do it very well. And I'm not bragging. This is not even nothing close to that. But I used to feel bad that people used to think that, well, you're supposed to do one thing and do it great and that's it. But if God give you gifts and multiple gifts like you can sing, you can write songs and it's powerful worship songs, as well as you can dissect a whole console and learn it and all that stuff. I'm blessed to even be in your company. So thank you so much for being with us and for sharing. And this is really just to tell people that on this side of earth, this side of heaven, the people out here doing it. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was a really amazing experience.
Amazing and
A little scary as well too.
Yeah.
But like I told you off camera, like if this just blesses one person or just encourages one person, and it was all worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for joining my guest here, Keron Boyce, on the island of Barbados. Him do big things in the world, not just here. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. My name is Canute. Thank you so much for joining.
This gift you gave to us, the perfect gift of love. On this journey you've chosen, know that He is God. I know it's not easy, but His burden is light. All who are oppressed and heavy laden, Jesus is the one to set us free. So come, all who are weary, He will give you